Coming up on Network Africa. Humanitarian organizations warn of new catastrophic famine across the East African countries of Kenya, Ethiopia and Somalia. New climate report warns of hotter, higher and more acidic oceans as a result of climate change. Plus, Burkina Faso rescuers find no survivors in flooded mines rescue chamber after a month ordeal. Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. Humanitarian organizations are warning of acute hunger linked to conflict, the climate crisis and rising cost of food. The organizations say across Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia, one person is dying every 48 seconds from acute hunger linked to conflict, the climate crisis and the rising cost of food. Well, the latest report is by Oxfam and Save the Children, and it estimates that around the world, 181 million people will experience crisis levels of hunger this year, with women particularly affected. The organizations say starvation is a political failure, and they're criticizing the international community for responding too late and with too little to prevent what is termed as cyclical and predictable emergencies. The Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator Martin Griffiths has concluded a two-day visit to Kenya, where he saw the devastating impact of a fourth consecutive failed rainy season in the Horn of Africa. During his visit, the humanitarian chief also met with Kenyan government officials with whom he discussed the government's response to the drought, as well as the vital need for life-saving action, accompanied by support for drought-affected communities to adapt and thrive into the future.
The world's attention is elsewhere, and we know that. And the world's misery has not left Turkana, and the world's rains have not come to Turkana. And we've seen 4 successive failures of the rains. We fear a 5th. And the result is, these families who've been kind enough to talk to us today have nothing left. They have no animals. They try to get food by making brooms that can't sell. The only food available for their children is sometimes from the schools. These mothers, who are so brave, make impossible choices. One of them said to us that some of them even have children who are at the age to go to secondary school. Imagine that. Children who've survived, who could go to secondary school. But to pay the fees to go to a secondary school in this area, you need to sell livestock. Sell a goat, as she said. There's no more goats. There's no more livestock. They're gone. We must give these people choices beyond smashing this fruit, as we see behind us, for the children to have the slightest possibility to survive to the next day. This is wrong. It's as simple as that.
United Nations Goodwill Ambassador, model and actress Sabrina Elba also visited Kenya to draw attention to the increasing threat that climate change, COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine are having on small-scale farmers' productivity and livelihoods in Africa and around the world. While in Kenya, Ms. Elba, who is of Somalian descent, took part in the launch of a new international fund for agriculture development initiative in response to the war in Ukraine that will help small-scale producers deal with spiraling food, fuel and fertilizer prices.
The victims of war are sometimes found very far away from the battlefield, and that is the case with Russia's brutal invasion on Ukraine. For while the fighting there is causing immeasurable difficulties and suffering and destruction, it's also threatening food security and livelihoods in some of Africa's poorest countries.
The World Meteorological Agency, WMO, has released a new report on climate change and its effects on the world. According to the State of the Climate report, the world's oceans in 2021 grew to their warmest and most acidic levels on record, while melting ice sheets helped push sea levels to new heights. Oceans saw the most striking extremes, as the WMO detailed a range of turmoil wrought by climate change in its annual State of the Global Climate report. The WMO report follows the latest from the United Nations Climate Assessment, which warned that humanity must drastically cut its greenhouse gas emissions or face increasingly catastrophic changes to the world's climate.
Today's State of the Climate report is a dismal litany of humanity's failure to tackle climate disruption. Sea level rise, ocean heat, greenhouse gas concentrations, and ocean acidification set alarming new records in 2021. Global mean sea level increased at more than double the previous rate and is mainly due to accelerating loss of ice mass. Ocean warming also shows a particularly strong increase in the past 2 decades and is penetrating to ever deeper levels. Much of the ocean experienced at least one strong marine heat wave at some point in 2021.
But we have broken record in ocean heat, which is more conservative than the atmospheric temperatures, which are varying according to these ocean temperatures. So we have now record amount of heat stored in the oceans, and 90% of the excess heat that we have produced to the planet, they are stored in ocean.
The World Bank has agreed a $300 million grant with Ethiopia. Now, that's according to the Horn of Africa country's finance minister, who says the funds would be used to help with reconstruction and recovery in conflict-hit areas. Fighting erupted in the northern Tigray region in November 2020 and spilled over into neighboring Afar and Amhara last year. Though there are still sporadic reports of fighting, the war is said to have eased since a unilateral ceasefire by the federal government in March. Ethiopia's finance ministry also said in a statement that the World Bank grant would be used for activities designed to support basic services, and it would also sign up with third-party organizations to execute the project in high-conflict areas. Areas in Tigray, Amhara, and Afar are targeted to receive these funds, as well as the regions of Oromia and Benishangul-Guzum, although violence in Benishangul-Guzum and Oromia is separate from the war in Tigray. United Nations says great progress has been made to remove all known landmines and other explosive remnants of war in South Sudan. However, some of the country's communities are still endangered by their presence. Well, as part of assessing mine action activities in the youngest nation of the world, the acting director of the United Nations Mine Action Service, UNMAS, Ellen Khan, recently visited one of the communities near the capital, Juba.
Residents in Gondokoro, some 20 kilometers from South Sudan's capital, Juba, are on alert. What is now used as the cattle camp and pasture was one of many battlefields when what was then Southern Sudan fought for independence. Following a series of mine accidents in 2016, a nearby feeder road was abandoned. Living in Gondokoro means being aware of the dangers left behind from the war. But a recent discovery has raised the levels of fear. An anti-tank mine capable of much death and destruction has been found. If accidentally detonated, its fragments can impact and contaminate an area of up to 1 square kilometer. The UN Mine Action Service, UNMAS, has operated in the area for a long time, removing explosive hazards and educating the community about the risks posed by the mines. Now, its best deminers are here to safely evacuate and demolish the expertly disguised metallic beast. A better place to observe and assess the work and the impact of the efforts of deminers is hard to find. For this reason, Eleni Cohn, the UNMAS acting director, on her visit to South Sudan, went to Gondokoro.
The anti-tank mine that started the work here, that came to light and started the work here, surfaced in the process of road construction. Road construction, I think, is absolutely vital to the development of this country. Transport, mobility of the population depends on these roads, and in particular, this is a very important piece of road, the development of which was going smoothly until an anti-tank mine was found, triggering the need to further clear in a very careful and methodical way that requires a certain amount of expertise, a certain amount of machinery, certainly a good deal of resources and time.
Her visit to South Sudan was also aimed at assessing the impact of UNMAS activities and how to further improve the organization's contributions to both the United Nations mission in South Sudan and to humanitarian development actors.
I'm here to understand directly how UNMISS, the peacekeeping operation, and the National Mine Action Authority are collaborating to ensure that the communities living in this area, using this land for agriculture and for cattle farming, and in particular hoping that the road that they want to use is safely built and made safe for their mobility, will be collaboratively cleared of the anti-tank mines that surprisingly came to the surface and came to our attention a couple of years ago.
Removing explosive hazards from Gondokoro will enable road construction companies continue their activities, cattle herders return to their camps, and the local population resume normal life.
After I came in April, and we got about 34 anti-tanks removed in this area. This shows that there is a commitment of those who are working, international community, the government of the South, and the NGOs or commercial companies that are working in these areas. We are very pleased, but we also ask for more so that we do more.
Mines and other unexploded ordnances still make areas of South Sudan dangerous to travel. That affects everything from farming to aid distribution to the resettlement of residents returning home after having fled violence and sometimes floods. However, UNMAS and South Sudan remain on course to reach the goal the country is committed to, a South Sudan free of landmines and other unexploded ordnances by July 2026.
It's a sad ending for relatives of 8 miners who got trapped in the zinc mine hundreds of meters underground by floodwaters in Burkina Faso. As the government says, rescue workers have found no survivors. Well, this has dashed the hopes of many that believes the missing men could still be alive after a month. The Pekoa mine, owned by Canadian firm Trevally Mining Corp., located about 120 kilometers west of the capital, Ouagadougou, was abruptly submerged on April 16th after torrential rain fell unexpectedly during the country's dry season. 6 of the missing men are Burkina Faso nationals. 1 is from Tanzania and the other from Zambia. Distraught relatives of the missing men have been gathering every day at the site in the Sanguine province, seeking solace from each other as they face the agonizing wait for news on their relative. Still to come on the program. Health experts try to boost COVID-19 vaccine uptake with mobile vaccination campaigns. More details in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the program. The U.S. government has selected 250 Nigerian business women to participate in the fourth cohort of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, a U.S. government initiative that supports women entrepreneurs around the world. In a statement released, the government says it continues to support women's full and free participation in the economy by creating platforms that enable them to thrive in their businesses, succeed as entrepreneurs, and prosper in their communities. Well, earlier this week, the U.S. Consulate hosted a virtual event to welcome the over 200 participants that cut across industries such as technology, fashion and textile, entertainment, health, renewable energy, and agribusiness. Well, over the next 3 months, participants are expected to acquire business management and tech skills and connect with networks of business leaders, women entrepreneurs, and mentors who will facilitate lessons related to business management. Well, joining me now on the program is Gloria Adaba, CEO of Remote Global Ventures Limited. It's an environmental and social impact assessment impact studies and provides recyclable to recycling companies. Hello, Gloria. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Oh, let me start by saying congratulations on being selected to participate in this. What does it mean to you, to be selected to participate in the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs?
It's given me a sense of validation, because when you've done something for a long time and have been to be in the sector I'm in, we get to do lots of applications, we get to do lots of pitches and all that. So being selected gives me a sense of validation, and I'm very excited. I remember when I received the call, it was really mind-blowing. I was excited, and it's a privilege that I look forward to exploring.
So how did you learn about this program?
I think I received it on about 3 WhatsApp groups I was on. And I just decided, okay, this is something that will help my business. Because the typical, when in Nigeria, when you want to start a business, oh, this is what it is. I know this, I know that, but you really need a lot of more knowledge, especially when you want to expand. You kind of feel constricted. So what it's going to do for me is that it's going to add a lot of knowledge and help me expand my business. So that's what I look forward to.
So just talk to us more about, how the knowledge and experience that you wish to get from this academy will help your business.
As a matter of fact, it has already started helping. And I'll tell you that we've had only about 2, I'll say 1 main class, but we've had 3 modules. There's what's called the Dream Builder, which is like a business studies or business course in a box. We've done the first 3 modules on our own. Is a self-study, and we also have had some virtual sessions with some of our mentors and facilitators. What it's doing for me as a person, because the truth is that your business starts with you as an individual. If you are okay, you are the root of your business. So that's what it's doing for me as an individual. It's changing my mind. It's increasing my knowledge base. And the beauty about the knowledge base of the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs that I've realized so far is that it goes beyond just the technical aspect. It also hits on the behavioral aspect. That most of the time is not looked at. I don't know if I've never been in a business school, but the Academy for Women Entrepreneurs gives us the right behavior. I mean, it helps you develop, the right behavior as a business person. And for you to know that you need to own yourself first, which for me goes beyond business. It goes into leadership. It goes into human behavior, which is something I'm intrigued by the way. So, and that feeds into my person, and then it also eventually feeds into my business and helps me expand and helps me grow. So that's what the academy is going to do for me. So it goes to the root of the matter. And as we say in Nigeria, it goes to the cocoa.
All right, let's just take a look finally on a broader aspect. How much of an impact do you think, the academy makes or can make on women entrepreneurship here in Nigeria?
Like I said earlier on, it's going to impact them as individuals as it is impacting me. And it would build, women, there's always this joke that when women get to do things, we take it on steroid level. So I see it impacting women in terms of their person, building their self-esteem, hitting the cocoa of the matter, which is hitting the very core, okay, of the woman, and then helping her develop as an individual, and then helping her develop her business. So I look forward to seeing a lot of businesses that are not just going to be short-term or short-lived. I see businesses that are going to be the types that we hand down to our next generation that will outlive us. That's what I see this academy doing for women across Nigeria and then eventually, I believe, across the world. Sorry, I'm in a car.
It's no problem. Thank you. Thank you very much, Gloria Adaba. We're the recipient of the 4th Academy for Women Entrepreneurs, an initiative by the U.S. government. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
We'll move on to security matters. The military in Uganda says it will withdraw hundreds of troops it sent last year to help neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo combat an Islamist insurgency. The Ugandan Land Forces commander, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, said that the Operation Shuja had only been extended to last for 6 months and would end by next month unless an extension is agreed, while authorities in DR Congo say the terms and timeline for the Ugandan withdrawal would need to be agreed by both countries. In December, Uganda sent 1,700 soldiers to take part in the joint operation with Congolese troops against rebels known as the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF. The ADF is accused of carrying out raids and massacres in eastern DR Congo and bombings in Uganda. The World Health Organization says it is concerned for Eritrea as the country has not started vaccinating its population. Well, during its usual WHO briefing, Director General Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus also said over the last week, COVID-19 cases have risen in 4 out of 6 WHO regions. Dr. Maria Van Kerkhove, COVID-19 technical lead at the WHO Health Emergency Program, also spoke about the monkeypox epidemic in the DRC and in Nigeria and Central African Republic.
Over the last week, COVID-19 cases have risen in 4 out of 6 WHO regions. Due to testing and sequencing reducing in many countries, it's increasingly difficult to know where the virus is and how it's mutating. We're also concerned about Eritrea, another country that has not started vaccinating its population.
What we really need to understand is the basic epidemiology of monkeypox. This once again highlights the threat of viruses like this. This is an orthopox virus. This is one that is on our radar, of course, but we really need to better understand the extent of monkeypox in endemic countries like in DRC and in Nigeria, Central African Republic, and others, to really understand how much is circulating and the risk that it poses for people who are living there, as well as the risk of exportation.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde. Bye for now.